All right, guys, so we're going to go through sideline leg raise. We use this exercise primarily for low-level rehab of the gluteal muscles, specifically glute medius tendinopathy, or just weakness in that area that can affect how you walk, stand, hike, etc. So your glute medius or the gluteal muscles are quite important for stabilizing your pelvis when your foot is on the ground, especially when you're in a single leg stance. So I'm going to show you a couple different variations. We're going to use some mini bands. We're going to use a plate, and we'll just do just leg weight or body weight as well. So we're going to come down onto our sides, and we're going to have our legs semi-bent. Okay, so partial hip flexion, partial flexion at the knees as well. And we're going to kind of turn over our hip and shoulder so we're right on our side. When you get into this position, all you need to do is create a little bit of a connection to the floor with the outside edge of your shoulder down towards your elbow. So instead of sinking down into the floor, hanging out like this, you're actually going to create a little bit of a connection down to the floor. The imagery here might be that you're gently trying to lift your armpit away from the ground, and then you're going to hold that position and connect down into the outside edge of your bottom knee. What I mean by that is that if you're turned back into your hips, you're not going to get any connection down to the floor with the outside edge of your bottom knee, and I want you to make sure that you turn your hips forward so you can feel that outside edge of your knee on the ground. If you really want to be obvious with your cueing, put a little loonie or a quarter under that outside edge of your knee and squish it to the ground. Hold that connection, and then all you have to do is lift the knee and then lift the leg. Now, once you get here, there are many angles in which we can choose to hold our leg. We can bring it up to hip flexion towards your chest, holding there, and we can take it all the way back into a pure side-lying straight leg raise right here. I very often will start somewhere in the middle just to train that position and just hang out here. We usually hold this for roughly 30 to 60 seconds, depending on the person, and it should be pretty darn hard at the end of your hold. So if you're not screaming, or if your glutes aren't screaming at you at the end of this set, it's too light. You need to add some resistance. Okay, so how do we add resistance? Take the band, throw it around your knees, just above your knees. Come right back down onto your side. Create that little connection to the floor with the outside edge of your shoulder down to your elbow, so you're just not sinking into the floor. And this case, the band is now outside of your bottom knee, so you can squish the band to the floor as you drive the top knee up. Stretch that band as far as you possibly can and hold that position. Now, some people who are not used to holding their head in this sideline posture, they'll report fatigue in their neck muscles. If that's a real limiting factor for you, then just lay your fingers back and gently support your head there, but don't sink down. Okay, hold there. And again, 30 to 60 seconds and your glutes should be screaming at you. It should be very difficult to continue holding this position when you get to the end of your set. Now, option 2 versus holding a still position would be to do a lift and lower movement. So you come up, you create your support to the floor, and then you just lift and lower the knee. You're trying to lead the lift with your knee, and when you come down, just tap the foot and then back up. Repeat 4 reps, and again, I usually just go with time under tension, so you don't need to count your reps, just controlled repetitions for, like I said, 30 to 60 seconds. There you go. Okay, now remember you have options in terms of your position of your leg. So you can come a little higher, or you can go right back into a straight sideline leg raise and work that position. Now, this is where creating that downside support gets a little bit more challenging. When you take that leg back, you're going to want to roll back into your hip. Make sure you keep that bottom knee stuck to the floor. And when you drive back, stretch the band back with the back of your knee. So it's not the foot that's going back. It's the back of your knee that's stretching behind you. You're trying to tension that band backwards. Hold the position through your pelvis. And then work your side lying leg raise from that position. Okay, now another option to create resistance is to use a weight. Okay, I'm going to switch sides. Come down. Okay, you can start again, knees stacked, create your support to the floor. I'm going to put this right on the outside of my kind of lower thigh towards my upper part of my leg, create my support to the floor, and then lift that up. And usually you can find a balance point where you don't need your hand, but you can always just lay your fingers on it to make sure it doesn't slide off. And again, you can work that lifting and lowering. I quite like using the plate. It's a good feel versus the band. Now, when you lift, make sure you don't roll back. So you're not turning back, but rather you're driving the knee up while staying forward through your hips. If you don't know what that means, place your hand on your hip and don't let it roll back as you lift the knee. That's the reason why I was stabilizing it. Hold there. Other option, again, is to have that isometric hold, which is just as challenging. And then you can also work hip flexion and extension. Hip flexion and extension. So you can drive it up and down using this hand to try to create better control through my midsection. Repeat for a few reps, again, 30 to 60 seconds, and then you're all done. So that's sideline leg raise with multiple variations. Your chiropractor, your therapist will probably define which variations he wants you to work on or she wants you to work on. So use their guidance to set your time under tension, how many sets you're going to do in each day, and whether you add resistance, all those finer details. Okay, so enjoy your practice and have a great day.